Welcome to Women's Wellth, the podcast with me, Joanne. My mission is to educate, inspire, and empower you all to step into your own life of wealth. Welcome back. So a little disclaimer. Yes, I did miss a week. Maybe you didn't even notice. I did have someone say, have you done a podcast this week? And last week I actually didn't. I slowed down. I needed a break. I was so busy. In the afternoon, I actually had off. I just gave in to my body. I actually fell asleep on the garden sofa with the dogs around me. I napped in the middle of the afternoon outside. It was gorgeous. I was in the shade. The weather's beautiful at the moment. So I actually just listened to my body. I'm giving you permission here to where you can to do the same. Now, I'm very guilty of pushing myself, working every afternoon at home, not really going outside, coming home from teaching in the morning, getting on the laptop in the afternoon, making content, editing content, all of those things. And then before I know it, I'm out of the house again to teach in the evening and not really enjoying having that work from home time because I'm not, I'm at home, but I'm just sat in the office. I could be anywhere. So I've actually rehashed my schedule so that I have more time to do that and giving myself that permission to do that. So this is me giving you permission to have a look at where you can do the same. Even if you have kids, and I know it's very different, waking up a little bit earlier than the kids at the weekend so that you can have 10 minutes for yourself, if that's an option. Seeing where you can squeeze that time in because it is so important. And it actually links nicely to what I want to talk about today, which is caring for your old lady body. We're not there yet. And I'm sure there's no one over the age of 50, 60 listening to this podcast. And I wouldn't even say that 60 is your old lady body. For me, I would say like 80 plus would be what I'm trying to achieve and what I'm trying to strive and work to here. So my vision is to be 80 plus and still being able to walk up the stairs, open jars, do yoga, go for a walk, have that mobility, that flexibility and that strength to just do the things that I need to do at that age. Of course, there'll be times when I slow down because I'll be 80 plus. However, if I want to do it, I want to be able to do it. I want to be agile. I want to be, doing all of the things and going for walks and getting out in nature. And that's what I am getting ready for now. Sack off the bikini body, summer body, winter body, wedding body, all of these things that we generally strive to, that we repeat every single year. That, someone asked me the other day, what did they say? It was a comment about, I think I was talking about eating some cake, and I was like, I had a huge piece of cake. And they're like, well, you're not getting married until next year. And in my head, I was like, I'm not even thinking about that. I am not thinking about a wedding body. I am thinking about my 86-year-old self body. And because I'm thinking about my 86-year-old self body, my body will be prepared for all of the other chapters that come in between. Because I'm going to be nourishing my body, moving my body, keeping myself mobile every single day, not just for one day. Because then what happens after that? You just give up, you don't do that anymore, and then you slow down and stop and start eating bad again, because then you're just going to have a whole influx of health issues. That's what I want to chat about. Your old lady body, starting today for a stronger tomorrow. We're very conditioned, and again, I think this, call me a conspiracy theorist, I love it. I do think that we're kind of pushed into this work until retirement and then enjoy your retirement, but then when you get to your retirement, you're too old anyway, and your life is done and that kind of thing. And it's a mentality, it's a mindset, it's a belief. In fact, and I've just quickly got this up for you, some studies have linked retirement to a decline in health. One ongoing study found that retired people, especially those in the first year of retirement, are about 40% more likely to experience a heart attack or stroke than those that keep working. Now, what does that tell you? That tells me that if you stop using it, you lose it. And this is exactly what I want to go deep into today. And it's never too late to start. I would probably say 30s, early 40s, it's a really good place to start. Because this is where, when I hear people saying to me like, oh, I'm getting on, like, hang on a minute, you're 38, you're young. In the grand scale, if you're 80 years old and you're looking at a 38-year-old, you're still a baby. Maybe have a little think about your posture, or what your working out schedule is, or are you working out, or what are you eating? Not the aging process. Because as soon as we start to put those thoughts, because again, it is a belief, look at those stats. Once you finish work, that is it, you're done. Your body's going to give up on you. So once you have those beliefs in your mind, you're going to live up to those beliefs. So you are going to slow down. You are going to stop doing things. And then eventually you lose it because you're not using it. In that sense, slowing down is not an option. Looking at the way you're doing things is an option. Maybe taking it easy is an option. Maybe switching, and I'm going to share a story with you of an 80-year-old lady in a second, switching some workouts that you might do now, like when you're 70, 80, you might not want to do high intensity workouts, but you could do a slower version of those. So slowing down is not an option. What we want to do is future-proof our bodies. We want to be here for as long as possible and healthy for as long as possible. And I really do believe that it's this conditioning that tells us the opposite, that, puts people in these retirement homes and on drugs and medications that they probably don't need if we were just told to future-proof our bodies. We're never really educated on this. We don't go to the doctors and the doctor says, look, you're doing all of this now, in 20 years time, X, Y, Z could happen. If you're a drinker or a smoker, or you do live a more sedentary lifestyle, that you don't move as much, are our doctors advising us what could possibly happen in the future if we keep eating and drinking that way? Or are they just going to look at us for the here and the right now? And I do think it's something that, again, we take control of this ourselves instead of waiting for something to happen. We were proactive in our own health. For me, aging gracefully is nothing to do with wrinkles, and you hear people saying, you should just age gracefully, and the women in the news and Madonna and the facial implants and all of the things that women have done. And again, it's mostly women when they talk about aging gracefully. But to me, aging gracefully is, yes, Madonna may have put all of I saw her the other day and she does look very different, but, if she's felt pressured to do that, then so be it. However, she was dancing around and twerking and there was people saying, oh, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. Could you dance like that? Because you're probably about 35 and, have you got those moves? Because she's double your age and she's doing it. But people were looking at it and thinking, how sad. I actually thought, wow, look at her. Tina Turner used to amaze me as well. I know she recently died over the past couple of years. But when she was dancing on stage and she was 70 years old, I'm like, oh my God, that is my goal. To have people look at me and go, wow, as if you're doing that and you're 86. After the age of 30, so this is why it's good to start really focusing on your body. Before the age of 30, it kind of looks after itself. Of course, nourishment and all of those things are important. But when you hit 30, our muscle mass starts to decrease. I think it's 3 to 8% per decade. So you'll find it harder to put on muscle. So you'll need to then eat more protein and have a look at the exercise regimes that you're doing. Now, if in your 30s you then stop, you've then got a lot of catching up to do, because after we're 40, so it's going to be 3 to 8%. And then when we're 50, another 3 to 8%. When we're 60, it accelerates. Now, again, what we want to do in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, so when we get to 60, we have an amazing base to begin with. So we're not just trying to catch up here. So it's already amazing. We're already fit. We're already healthy. We already have that muscle mass. And it's more about maintenance. So at the moment, it's preventative. And then when we get there, it's maintenance. And then it's not that we're then sick and we'll start losing mobility and flexibility and we can't walk up the stairs and we need a walking stick and all of these things. And again, those things might happen due to illness that we cannot control. But what we can control is the food that we eat, how much we move, the exercise that we do. Are we lifting weights? And when we talk about lifting weights, it doesn't need to be, muscle guys in the gym. light weights and lots of reps. Walking is an exercise in itself. You don't need to be running marathons. Go for a walk every single day. And if you're eating the right foods, then it's all, in conjunction. Is conjunction the right word? Combination. It's all combination together. So if you're exercising, you have a regular movement, you are eating foods that nourish your body, you're not dieting, you know the foods that you're putting in your body are going to help you, then you just live that way. There's no crash dieting, there's no fad diets, there's no bikini body, there's no working out every single day because you're going on holiday and then when you get back you just forget about it. It's building these habits, lifelong habits for your old lady body, for your lifelong body. People who do stay active actually, prevent themselves from risk of falls, chronic diseases, even cognitive decline. Now, I'm very lucky to have my grandmother still alive in her 80s, my granddad still alive in his 80s on my mother's side. My mother is only in her 60s and she's just the same as I've always seen her. My grandmother in her 80s is more active than some people I know in their 30s. She is, and again, she's a role model for me. She goes off in her motorhome. She's always out walking with her dogs. She got dogs when I think they must be about 6 or 7 now, so they keep her active. She's very young-minded. She, has iPads and she's on the internet and she's on Facebook and she's sharing and she's reading and, all of these things actually keeping her on point. I have not seen any decline in her. When I go home and I see her, it's exactly the same nan that I used to have. Well, she is the same nan, but I mean as in, her mobility and what she's doing. Of course, she's, slowed down a little bit and you keep an eye on her because, that's what you do. And my father as well, and I've spoken about his illness, I have never seen him looking so well. And I think his illness 5 years ago was a bit of a kick up the bum for him too, because he had started looking after himself. He wasn't drinking, he wasn't smoking, but since his illness, he is, I gave him my old Apple Watch and he's getting his steps in and he's going swimming. And over the past few years, he literally looks like he's aging backwards. When I see him, I'm like, how do you look younger? He literally does. Because I look at pictures of him from before and he has that colour in his cheeks now. So I'm very blessed to have an active family that, I'm guessing that maybe it's within me to feel this way about staying active. And no, it's not a bad thing if your family isn't like that, but this is your time now to take control over your health. So if you don't have the same, in your family and you can't look at your family for a little bit of inspiration, that's okay. You be the inspiration for your family. You be the inspiration for your children. A lot of this is mindset. People who are younger and they start like, oh gosh, I'm feeling it now. I feel probably better than I ever have done since I've started to really tune into my body and live this way compared to maybe 10 years ago when I was, especially when I had my lower back pain and, just living like an old lady because my back was in so much pain. But now I've sorted out my health and I know a lot of that was mental health. A lot of that was my diet. A lot of that was because I wasn't happy in myself. And it was manifesting, I did fall over, I had a slipped disc, but I couldn't heal from it because I wasn't ready to heal and I wasn't looking after my body. I wasn't doing enough and, I'd have the odd spurt here and there going to the gym and then I'd stop and I wasn't consistent like I am now. And I'm very grateful again to have people around me that are also very similar. Going back to the mindset, I have a stat here. So a study published in Psychological Science showed that people with positive beliefs about aging live 7.5 years longer than those with negative beliefs. So next time you are, feeling it and you're like, oh my God, and you're putting it onto your age, just stop, just flip that belief. You're lucky to be here. You're lucky, and it's so amazing you've reached the age that you have. Now, how can you help yourself to live longer? How can you help yourself to be that old lady who's still dancing up and down the street, doing yoga, whatever it is, your choice of activity? One of my yoga teachers who's based in New York is 86, I think, 85, 86. He still goes, he's still doing it, still doing headstands, because it is very much a mindset. So stepping into the mindset of you're happy, you're grateful to be here, you love your body, and you're going to look after your body. And I guess it goes without saying that if you do have a sedentary lifestyle, that you sit down a lot, you're working at a desk, of course you're going to feel crappy. You're going to lose strength, you're going to lose balance, and you're not going to be very flexible because you're not using your bodies. Again, just think about it. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. It's going to seize up. You know, your joints, if you're not using your joints, they're going to stop working. The same, think of yourself like your car. If you don't put petrol in your car's going to stop working. If you don't put oil in your car's going to stop working. So for us, petrol is our food, our nourishment, the oils that we eat, you know, keeping our joints healthy. You know, the same as looking after our cars. We have to take our cars for an MOT in the UK every single year to check that they're working, to check that they're safe. Are you doing that for yourself? Or are you just plodding on day by day, just waiting for the day, you know, you're getting old, so you're going to stop doing all of the things instead of actually looking after your body? And there's so many ways that you can start today. It doesn't have to be a massive life overhaul. And, you know, through my mentor programs, this is exactly what I try to promote, because you see so many out there that are like 6 weeks and you've got to, you know, sell your soul for 6 weeks and you can only eat dust and you've got to do all of these exercises, and it's not sustainable. You cannot live that way for a long time. Small habits, making small changes every single day, adding to them as you go. It might just be starting with an extra glass of water every single day because you know you're feeling dehydrated and you're getting headaches. Once you've got that habit down, you add something else in. Maybe you don't do any exercise at all now, so next time you go up the stairs, you're going to run up the stairs, or you're going to run back down then run up again, just for the extra steps, the extra exercise there. Not killing yourself, not forcing yourself to go to a gym if you hate it, just keeping yourself mobile. When you go to the shopping centre, can you take the steps instead of the lift? Or if you're walking up the escalator, walk up the escalator, don't stand still. Just these little things that you can do. They're not obsessive. They're just you're knowing that, right, this is keeping my hips healthy, this is keeping my joints healthy. Trying to move your body daily. A minute, a walk. You know, put your favourite music on, just dance in the living room. It doesn't have to be a huge event. And if you're tired, you know, tune into what your body needs. Yesterday, I usually do yoga on a Sunday morning and I was tired. I had 3 lessons to teach. So instead of going to the yoga class as a student, I went for a walk just to keep my body moving. There was a few times I knew the cafe was down the road and I was thinking, shall I just go sit down and have a coffee? But I didn't, because I was thinking, right, no, I don't need a coffee. I'd already had a coffee. I was just being greedy. And that wasn't me restricting myself from the coffee. When I thought about it, I was like, you know what, it'd be nice to get in the vitamin D, go for a walk, move my legs. My legs were tight because I went to the gym the day before, stretch my muscles off, and I felt amazing after. So it doesn't always have to be a big, huge event. There might be one week that I do actually feel too tired and I'm going to go sit and have a coffee. But then I might sit and I'll have a coffee outside, so I'm getting that vitamin D at the same time. I've been doing a lot over the past few years is including strength training. And this brings me, I'm going to put her on the screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. This brings me to this lovely lady. Iris Davis. She is 80 and she's in the best shape ever. So this was, I'll share the article in the notes below, and I'll put as much as I can on the screen as well. Iris Davis is a personal trainer and one of the world's oldest active female bodybuilders. She shares her tips for transforming your body at any age. And she looks amazing. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see her. So she has an impressive resume. She's won countless fitness awards, including the fittest senior in the USA in 2006 by Nintendo. She's a professional bodybuilder with the International Fitness and Bodybuilding Federation, a sport she didn't pursue until she was 50. And she's now one of the world's oldest active female bodybuilders. She's even become a personal trainer, helping others transform their bodies at any age. How amazing is that? Tell me your excuse for not doing it. And I'm going to give you a bit more information about her. So she's from Ireland. She actually started working out as a way to manage depression. She lost her son. She lost her husband. So she was overwhelmed with grief, and she started by going for walks. That is it. So she says here, in the early 60s, Ireland was not a great place to live. I had no prospects, no ambition. I was lonely and depressed. I started walking to save my own life. I had no idea I would end up a bodybuilder. All I know is exercise was the only way I could cope with trauma. At the time, she says that exercise was not something women did. There were hardly any gyms, and the existing ones wouldn't admit women. So that was back in the 1960s. So she started walking for her mental health. Fast forward to her 50s, she was living in London, and she entered her first bodybuilding competition. There was only one other woman in the show, and she was told she had to compete with the men or go home. Now, we live in a very different society today, that there is, it's very welcoming, and the gyms are male and female, we can work out together, there's male and, I'm not saying that you all have to go off and become bodybuilders, by the way. This is just inspiration, and her story is very inspirational. So she goes to the gym, and she says that she doesn't do heavy weights. She splits up lower body and upper body. That's what I do. I do 2 days arms, 2 days legs. That is it. I don't lift extremely heavy, as doesn't Iris, and she uses lighter weights but more reps, which is what I do. So you're able to do that as well. It doesn't have to be huge heavy weights. You might find that once you start feeling a little bit stronger that you may want to pick up those heavy weights, but keep it light. You're still moving. She also talks about cardio. And this is something that I really promote as well. Choose something that you like. If you don't like running, don't go running. I don't like running. I don't run. The only time I run is if I go to a class at the gym and it involves running. I do not go for a run. I like walking. I really love it. And I also think that walking is better for your body. For my body, at least. When I run, it hurts. I used to run, and it gave me I had shin splints. So I don't know if I just don't run very well, but I don't enjoy it, and I don't like the feeling in my body after. So I just walk. The benefits of walking as well is that it's not so high impact, so it's not going to ruin your joints. So running is really bad for your knees. So I would say if you do have any joint issues, to walk. Going for a walk for 30 minutes is still going to be cardiovascular exercise, and just walk a little bit quicker if you're trying to lose weight and you hate running. But again, you might naturally find that over time you're like, I feel like I'm going to run. So let your body guide you. Don't push or force your body to do anything that it doesn't want to do. And then we also need to think about our fuel. What are we putting into our bodies? And I know I've done a podcast before on intuitive eating, but really thinking about the food that you're putting in your body. And of course, it's okay. I'm not going to use the word treat. It's okay to eat those foods that may not be highly nutritious every once in a while, because we're only human. If you want some cake, have some cake, because when you're allowing yourself to have it, and you're not putting yourself on these strict diet regimes, you're not going to want cake every single day. And if you do, there are healthy options that you can, instead of having the normal sponge cake with all the chocolate, grab a healthy option if that's what you're craving. And if you're craving sugar and that's why you're eating cake, start to introduce dark chocolate into your diet. You're still having a sweet treat. Now, I know I always mention cake, but that's because I do myself have a sweet tooth, and I'm always trying to cut out sugar. I'm trying to cut out sugar, so I go for other alternatives, because I could eat cake every day, but I know that it's not got that nutritional value, so I don't. I'm not restricting it. If I want it, I'll have it generally at the weekends, and then in the week I'm like, do you know what, I don't need to eat cake in the week. I'm going to have a handful of nuts, or I have a herbal tea, or sometimes I have a glass of milk if I do feel like, sometimes I don't need that sweet treat. But these are things that you'll just learn about yourself and learn about your body. Honestly, the amount of times I walk past the pick and mix in the supermarket, but I haven't had them now. I had a bad habit. The reason I'm mentioning this, I had a bad habit of getting a small pick and mix to eat in the car when I was driving home from the shop. And, that's fine, but I was doing it nearly every day because I tend to go to the shop to get something for my lunch because we have food delivered for our evening meals. So I was tending to do it every day, and I was like, right, if I add all of this up, that's a lot of sweets that I'm eating each week. So I do walk past every now and again. I'm like, I don't need that sugar, and I go to get some blueberries, and I eat my blueberries in the car on the way home. So I'm still getting my treat and staying hydrated. Now, we've all got that myth of 8 glasses of water per day. You drink as much water as you can, but making sure you are being mindful. So if you're like, oh, well, I can only drink 1 glass. Now, 1 glass isn't going to be enough. Maybe 1 litre, or have, a nice big cup and aim to finish that. Some days we don't need all of that water because, you might not have worked out, and you might be sat at home and you're forcing this water down and you're bloated and you're uncomfortable because your tummy is full of water. Just follow your body. That's all that you can do. So that's strength. That's keeping your strength. That's fueling your body. We then have our flexibility and our mobility. Now, of course, I'm biased. I'm a yoga teacher, so I would say try yoga. I know not everyone likes yoga. So you can try other things, or just stretching, just giving your body a good stretch. And a really good way, and I talk about this in my yoga classes all the time because everyone always says, oh, I'm not very good, I've got no balance. The only way you can practice balancing is by balancing. When you put the kettle on, stand on one leg. Just stand on one leg while the kettle's on and switch legs. So about 30 seconds. And then you'll start to find that you will do it for a little bit longer. And then while you're standing on one leg, maybe come up onto your tiptoes. You'll wobble and then you'll fall. Doing this every single day is going to help you with your balance. Some days balance is off. That's just what happens, just our balance is off. But these little things, they don't have, like I keep saying, they don't have to be massive things. We're preparing over the next 40, 50, 60 years, depending on how old you are listening to this. So instead of this, what we're kind of doing at the moment is 6 weeks. I'm going on holiday, so I'm on a diet for 6 months, and you come back and you forget about it. So this is longevity. This is building all of these things into your habits every single day so that you just build on them, you grow on them, you grow on them, you grow on them. It's something you do every single day. It's in your life. It's not, it's there. You're not having to make any extra time for it because you're building on it as you go. Next, we need to obviously protect our joints. Now, if you do sit at a desk, make sure you're getting up every 30 minutes or so, just standing up, have a little stretch, have a little walk, and try to incorporate some low impact exercises. So in the summer, get a bike and go for a bike ride, get those joints moving. I love going on the bikes. When I go to the gym, I'll sit down and do 10 minutes on the bike just to warm up my legs. Because like I said, I don't really like running, so I'll do the bike, and it's a lot easier on the knees and it doesn't hurt my shin splints. And of course, the icing on the cake to all of this is our emotional health, our mental health. How are you supporting up here? Stress impacts aging. If you're stressed, having a look at how you can limit the stress. Where can you incorporate mindfulness into your day? Can you start meditating? Can you start journaling so that you're giving yourself this release from anything that is going on up here to then help, your body? And like I've said, when I had all the aches and the pains and I wasn't moving much, and I was moving, but I was going out partying and I was drinking and I didn't feel good and I wasn't preparing my lifelong body, I wasn't mindful. I was in a bad place mentally, and it was quite obvious. And I couldn't eat, and I wasn't eating nutritious foods. And now when I look back, I can't believe that I didn't see what I was doing was having a detrimental effect on my health. And I've spoken before about when I've tried to change the way that I was eating, then I would be too obsessed in eating healthy food and not eating enough food, not an eating disorder. I would say that I probably had a little bit of orthorexia, where I would try and completely cut out everything that may have been bad for me, which then again has the opposite effect. And it's just a vicious circle of, I don't want to eat that, but I do want to eat that, and I'm working out, and I don't feel good, I'm not looking after myself. So, and it's okay to have lived through that. As long as, if you're listening to this now and you've got all the way through, you're probably thinking, right, yeah, I'm ready to kind of take these small steps. I'm ready to prepare for my lifelong body. And it does only need to be small steps. And I would say that just start with one of the things I've mentioned today. Taking the time to maybe even just write it down. How do you feel? How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel in 40 years' time? Looking back, asking yourself, and I did this journaling exercise for myself of, I was 90 years old and looking back and thanking my younger self. Thank you for going for walks. Thank you for doing yoga. Thank you for eating healthy foods, because I am able to walk up the stairs and all the things I want to still be able to do. I can still dance, and I can still walk, and I still go swimming. I still do yoga. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And all of these things that I want to be able to do then, so that I'm doing these very small things now. Last thing that I nearly forgot, sleep. Sleep is so important. Now, again, I speak to a lot of people who have children, and it's very, it can be very difficult to sleep, but being able to have a look at your sleep routine. Are you going to bed when your children go to bed, but sat on your phone scrolling? So then your melatonin levels are low. So you're taking ages to fall asleep, and then your kids are waking up and you feel like you've had no sleep. And again, we've got that vicious circle there. So just reflecting on your sleep habits, because I know a lot of you listening to this will be taking your phone to bed. So leave your phone, go to bed, read a book, go to sleep, and notice the effects that just one thing will make on your body. Your body is designed to move. Your body is designed to thrive, to support you no matter what age you are. The sooner you start showing it some love, the more vibrant your future self will be. So start saying yes to your old lady body. I would love to hear from you. Let me know one of the things that you're going to start doing, or what you feel about your old lady body. And yeah, show me, tell me, tag me, whatever it is. I want to hear from you. And I will see you all in the next episode.